Stugotz here for Hotel Tonight. You know, staycations are just as good as vacations, so why not knock off that hotel you've been putting off staying in right now with Hotel Tonight? Hotel Tonight is fantastic. It's an app, not a website, just an app. It's easy to use. I love it. My friends love it. Hotel Tonight partners with great hotels to get you incredible deals for tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. In fact, a friend of mine recently up in New York City, I told him about the app. He needed a hotel room that night. He used it that day and got himself at one of the nicest hotels in New York City, got himself 40% off what he would normally pay for that hotel. It is simple, guys. They partner with some incredible hotels and get you crazy good deals at super cool hotels, or you can actually book in advance. If you're more of a planner, it's an app only, which means it's really easy to use, and you can book a room in like 10 seconds. Seriously, time yourself. You can do it. Book next week, tonight. Book next month, tonight. Book for Memorial Day weekend, tonight. So download the Hotel Tonight app and start booking better deals at better hotels right now. Something better just came along. Hotel Tonight.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Go ahead, Cody, sing this too.
But he faked a curtain call, just like it was years ago. A woman grabbed him by the arm as he staggered down the aisle. And with all his country charm, he addressed her with a smile. Would you catch a falling star before it crashes to the ground? Don't you know how people are? Nobody loves you when you're down.
That's it. You're done. That's good. That was a good run.
Yes.
Greg Cote, Tuesday, starts nationally
John
with
Anderson.
a bang. He's got diversity. He's got range. He could do hip-hop as he did in the local hour, and then he slowed it down, baby, and he just gave you some country.
Baby.
So this is Rodeo Clowns Tuesday. I always lose.
Sorry.
The Rodeo Clowns are undefeated against me. Never lost. And Greg Cote of the Miami Herald has gotten off to a fiery start today. And we've got a story here locally that has gone national because Giancarlo Stanton has gone national. And he had something happen to him last night that was really human. And I'm just curious what you guys think of this back and forth. Okay, so the starting point is, and Billy loved this story. Billy, this was your favorite moment, right, of the evening last night in sports?
Yeah, and I love Stanton. I mean, I know I give him a lot of crap, but I love him, and he's never emotional, so it was great seeing him like that, like really into it, really passionate about what was going on.
But set it up for the people. Explain to the people what it is that happened last night if they're just getting this news on the radio.
So a couple years ago, Giancarlo Stanton got hit in the face when Michael Fiers pitched for the Brewers, and he missed, the remainder of that season, and it kind of threw his timing off, and it kind of affected him. And people were saying that if it would have been in a different place, it could have really affected his career. So yesterday, they met up again. Now Stanton's on the Yankees. Fiers is on the Tigers. And in the first inning, Fiers hit him like in the elbow. But it was a high pitch. And Stanton was upset about it, visibly upset. He's walking down to first base, had a few words. And then Fiers was kind of like gesturing that he wasn't doing it on purpose, but was really demonstrative about it. And the bench is cleared.
So Fiers, who has made the face of Giancarlo Stanton explode in a way where when we talked to him, he told us there were at-bats after he came back where he was struggling so much that he would hear the ball in the catcher's mitt, and he'd be like, I never saw the ball come out. I never saw it anywhere along the path. That's what Fiers did to Giancarlo Stanton's face and career, and that's a $300 million plus face and career. And he shattered it. And so for him to hit him on the first pitch, and Giancarlo Stanton is bothered by that, to show no remorse there and, in fact, slander him after the game, it just lacks so much fundamental decency.
Well, what is Fiers supposed to do? Never pitch inside again? Because even Stanton said after the game last night he wasn't trying to hit me, but just don't hit me.
No, just be okay with Stanton getting mad. It's totally understandable. You busted the dude's face with a baseball.
Yeah, the two have history, and they're never going to forget each other as a result of what happened in Milwaukee. So later in the game, Stanton came up and just destroyed a ball. He had 456 feet, and he stayed, and he took his time going around the bases. He threw his bat, and when he got home, he did a little point back at Fiers, and Fiers was not a fan of any of what Stanton was doing.
Yeah, of course. So let's play this sound, because this is, nobility baseball is judge another man's character by how he plays with balls.
I understand that he's but the way he handled it, I think it was kind of childish. I mean, anybody knows, watching this game that, I'm not throwing at him. So, he's going to act how he's going to act, and kind of shows kind of his character, because obviously I wasn't throwing at him. Getting his revenge and, throwing his bat and pointing, I mean, that's not part of this game. I mean, yeah, you're supposed to have fun, but, I think that's kind of childish. But I understand he was happy at that point, and he got me back, but, whatever.
This is how oafy these apes can be sometimes in that sport. If those are the ways you're going to do the measurements, where you measure someone's character based on an act, Mike Fiers, you're the one who's got the character problem. You exploded a dude's face, and now you have no remorse that he might not love it if you hit him again. Whether you meant it or not, your absence of intent doesn't forgive that you got in that clubhouse afterward and made it all worse by revealing, if we want to define people by their worst moments, this is the only one of your career I know. If you want to define them that way, your character in the moment is the one that's actually showing.
Yeah, that's the rare instance where when you hit a guy and you're the pitcher, you raise a palm and you raise your glove hand in a my bad, I'm sorry gesture.
Competition.
Really, the rules to that? You have to do that? I disagree with you guys. Listen, Mike Fiers still has a job to go do, and he had to pitch to Giancarlo Stanton. He went inside, he hit him. He didn't mean to hit him. He's supposed to apologize now every time he hits him moving forward?
It's a different circumstance. When the hit by pitch involves shattering somebody's face and coming maybe a half an inch from shattering an orbital bone and maybe ending a career, that's not just a hit by pitch. That's something that you never forget. That's something that if they meet on the again 10 years from now, if they're both still in the league, there's still going to be that baggage, because you never forget that. As a player, as a person, you go to your grave thinking about that time that your face exploded in a baseball game.
Mike Fiers actually has a no-hitter, which tells you about how diluted no-hitters have been. Yeah, Dan doesn't know about it.
Well, how about this? Fair point and good correction. Let's do this for a second, because I used to love baseball. Love it. It was my favorite. One of my first jobs in journalism, covering the Marlins, going on the road with the team. So that's a sport that I love, and I have lost a little bit of that, where I'm paying attention to what used to be historic things. And I'm wondering, have there been so many no-hitters recently that the same thing has happened to members of the audience? Or if you care about baseball, do you think you can actually remember pitcher X has a no-hitter?
There's been so many. It feels like recently there's just been, over the last 4 or 5 years, there's been so many by just tons of random guys. Mm-hmm. I'm looking them up right now. But the fact that you didn't know Fiers, right, that probably speaks to that a little bit?
It speaks to me being less interested in baseball and me being more ignorant, saying, what's that guy ever done, when the answer can be, well, he threw a no-hitter.
Well, his was in 2015, and the only reason I remembered is because I remember, hey, that's the guy that broke Stanton's face, and he did it the next season.
And so here's Giancarlo Stanton saying in his words why it is that he arrived in a place. This is after the game. Everyone is, ostensibly cooled off. Why he was upset. See if you can understand this.
If it's going to come up and in like that, then yeah, it does. Wasn't trying to hit me in that situation, but still, with the history what happened, don't hit me.
Is there any better revenge than a 456-foot homer?
It was nice. Win would be better, but oh well.
By the way, there's been 3 no-hitters this season, one of them combined.
Does Roy Halladay's no-hitter in the playoffs count? Because playoff staffs don't count for anything. Home runs don't count in the playoffs, so that shouldn't count as a no-hitter, right?
Well, what do you mean? So Don Larson shouldn't count as a perfect game?
No, because it was in the playoffs. None of those stats count.
Yeah,
it would mean more, though, in the postseason, no?
No.
What do you mean they don't count?
If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
But everyone's hearing it.
Everyone's hearing it. We're still talking about it 50 years later.
No, but it doesn't count because it's in the playoffs. None of Bonds' home runs in the playoffs counted towards his total.
Yep, 100% right by Billy.
But he has playoff numbers. Like, they're counted.
They're put somewhere.
They're separate, though.
I have the list of no-hitters, perfect games, all of it. Roy Halladay's postseason one is on there.
I know. I don't think it should be.
Okay.
It's my next crusade.
If it doesn't happen in the regular season, it didn't happen at all?
It didn't happen at all.
All right.
I don't understand the argument you're making.
Well, we can't just pick and choose all willy-nilly which stats we want to count and which stats we don't want to count.
But they're two categories. One's regular season and one's postseason.
No, but because, when someone gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, you don't hear this person had 762 home runs plus 28 in the postseason.
I think the opposite of Billy. I think we should add in their playoff stats to numbers.
Good call.
Agreed.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. That's when it matters most, right? When the pressure's on.
They could count double in the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. Double, yes. Thank you.
Why was there a here in there? Like, I don't understand when you guys became Parliament.
Well, I mean, order was restored, it feels like, right?
Yeah. We're just talking it out, trying to figure out what we're going to do here.
When does anyone use the expression in this country, here? Is it, put it on the poll and make one of the choices toasting lager.
Is here the same as hear he?
No, Greg?
Hear ye.
Hear ye.
Wait a minute. Fat Chris, did you just pronounce it? Hear ye.
Hear ye.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
You got to be ringing a big bell when you say that.
Yeah, that's at the start of a conversation. Here is at the end.
Okay, I'm glad we got that cleared up.
Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
My father has turned on everyone in the organization. Everyone. He has turned the Miami Heat into something he loves and hates. He's blaming everybody.
Stugotz.
Well, it started with all that air and the bags of chips. If the Heat would have taken care of that, he'd have fallen in line.
Mickey Aaron chips.
Exactly.
What?
It's cold, man.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We got a lot going on around here. Greg Cote of the Miami Herald is with us. If you want to support what he does around here, MiamiHerald.com is where you go. Go click on his column. You don't have to read it. Just click on it.
Clicks for Cody.
It's fine if you read it, but you don't have to.
That'd be like a bonus, actually reading it. Imagine that.
Yeah, but just get him the clicks. He needs the clicks. He's a dinosaur in a dinosaur medium, and he's trying to stay alive. It'd be nice if you were part of keeping him merely endangered instead of extinct. So one of the things that's happening around here is Billy and Stugotz are really annoying during the breaks. They just start talking amongst themselves, and it's very loud. And so this was the big conversation they were having. It was just, Mike, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just like, balls rattling in a can in my ear for 5 minutes. I can't stop the rattling and the shaking. Go ahead and explain to the audience why that was happening.
We were just trying to figure out the worst pitcher to ever throw. Chris was involved as well, to ever throw a no-hitter or a perfect game. And then we were debating if the pitcher was bad enough, should we just chalk it up to baseball and take the perfect game or the no-hitter away? Baseball's random, right? Where a guy's just terrible, and then all of a sudden he comes out and he throws a no-hitter or he throws a perfect game. We think, we're not certain yet, we'll make a ruling by 1 o'clock today, that if the pitcher's not good enough, we're going to take those things away, and we're just going to call it baseball. That's it.
Right now, everyone's no-hitter is under review.
Yes.
And if your career didn't live up to snuff, you may not have a no-hitter anymore.
The leader in the clubhouse right now, I believe, for no-hitters, and this was a perfect game, Philip Humber. He had a career 13-26 record, 5.3 ERA. And you want to hear about his next start after his perfect game? 5 innings, 9 earned runs,
Okay.
3 home
Hold
runs.
on a second.
And deserve it, man. I mean,
All right. So
take it away.
So if Chris is playing this game and goes all in with his hand of Philip Humbers and says, I got the nuts, who can beat him? What's the name that can beat him? What's the resume that can beat him as the worst pitcher to ever throw a no-hitter or perfect game?
Like, I'm looking at this list, and I feel like if you have multiple no-hitters, then your no-hitters will count, right? But this Johnny Vandermeer is kind of like a one-trick pony. He did it in back-to-back starts, and they didn't do anything after that, right? He was 119 and 121, 344. I mean, he did it. He had a good week, basically.
All right, Guillermo, put this on the poll. He had a good week out of the pen, right? Johnny Vandermeer, one of the most famous names in the history of baseball.
Good week of baseball. I mean, that's what he had.
That happens.
Yeah.
Baseball. He was flowing then.
Yeah.
When did he play?
He played in the, he died in 1997. He was born in 1914. So, the 30s, 40s.
Greg, put it on the poll. I'm sorry. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is the no-hitter meaningless because Homer Bailey has 2 of them?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, the guy is 67 and 70 with a 4.54 career ERA. Hey, a couple lucky nights, baseball nights. Take them away.
I would also add that
both of them. Take them both away.
Take them both away. Yeah.
Wow.
What about Burley? He has 2.
Do you guys remember A.J. Burnett threw a no-hitter that included 9 walks?
9 walks.
9 walks.
And he hit a mascot like Nuke Lelouch.
Yeah.
It's an atrocity.
You remember that, Guillermo? I love he threw a pitch baseball. Didn't he injure the mascot? Was there some sort of legal action
was
there?
Was that the same game? I know one time Billy the Marlin was driving around with that car and he threw a ball through the window. And I think it was intentional.
I may have my facts wrong here. I'm sorry. I just slandered A.J. Burnett. A.J. Burnett, for those of you who don't know, had a no-hitter with 9 walks and one time hit a truck and broke the window instead of hitting a mascot with one of his throws.
There's no way you could get a no-hitter now with 9 walks, right? I need to see how. No. He must have had like 130 pitches.
Len Barker had a perfect game.
Wow.
Not good career numbers.
No. But Len Barker. Actually, remember Len Barker.
Well, you remember that baseball card in the mustache. I
do.
Think. Yes.
That's exactly what I remember. Thank you, Steve. That's absolutely right. It's the only thing I know about that human being.
This show ain't free. Time for some ads.
The tools. Do you remember? Guillermo, put it on the poll. Do you remember that baseball card? This is that show now, Mike. I'm mortified. I am mortified right now that we are the show that is so old that it is talking about baseball cards from Cleveland Indians in the 80s. That's the only thing I know about that dude, Len Barker. He could have cured illnesses since that picture. And the only thing I remember is that baseball card of his entire career. I don't remember the no-hitter. The no-hitter is dwarfed by the mustache. Damn it. We are so old.
Yeah.
You count combined no-hitters? I don't count those.
Oh, get out of here.
There's one of those this year, right?
Yeah.
Who are the most pitchers to combine on a no-hitter? Because that's the height of absurdity, right?
Yes.
The most pitchers ever to combine for a no-hitter. We'll tell you what the answer is to that after the Dollar Shave Club ad. The tools from the good folks at Dollar Shave Club extend beyond the ones for your face. They have tools for your hair, their teeth, other parts of your body. I'm telling you, I am using stuff that I never would have used before just because they send it to us. Stugotz is going to tell you about Dollar Shave Club before or after Chris Cote hits you with this.
Astros and Mariners in the last 8 years have had no-hitters with 6 pitchers.
Yeah, take them away.
Don Batard.
Come in here and tickle. Hurry up and tickle him till the end of the segment.
Dr. McGillicuddy said this could be bad for my heart. Could be bad for my heart.
Stugotz.
Having a heart attack.
Tickle him more. Tickle him more. Right to the end of the segment.
Heart attack in it.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Capitals beat the Golden Knights to take a 3-1 series lead. Capitals have lost the most playoff series while leading 3-1 in NHL history with 5. Whew. Don't blow it. Game 3 of the NBA Finals between the Warriors and Cavs is tomorrow, 9 Eastern on ABC. And finally, Clippers center Boban Marjanovic has joined the cast of John Wick 3, according to Collider. What?
You got it right. I'm
shocked that he's joining the cast of John Wick 3.
We are all staring at you, stunned that you got Boban's last name right. That you drilled it like if you were at the height of competence.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't count. It's kind of like the no-hitters in the perfect game, right? I mean, that shouldn't count. I didn't get it right, really. Take it away from it. Anyway, the Serbian with the largest hands in the NBA will join a group of assassins facing off against Keanu Reeves. I am there for that.
We're all there. Everybody listening to this show is going to go together.
For all the latest headlines and information, tune to the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Boban as one of the assassins in a John Wick movie. Yes or no? It might be our first 100%er. We're all going. I am watching this on television. First of all, I got to get back to something that happened with Stugotz during the break.
Oh, no.
But I'm watching on television, Mike, and they're showing again the LeBron James diva tantrum on the sidelines. Did he actually say to Ty Lue twice to make sure? He asked him once, we got no timeouts, and Ty didn't hear the question. And then he asked him again to make sure that he heard, we got no timeouts. He did this while totally knowing that they had timeouts and just making his coach say it out loud in front of everybody that he could have rescued us there and did not.
Yep.
And then what LeBron did after that, if I were to tell you, imagine in your head what it looks like. When you rewatch this video, imagine what I'm telling you. Imagine a diva cartoon princess with a tiara on her head throwing a temper tantrum over something. How theatrical would it look? I want you, LeBron James, specimen of our times, I want you to look at it as he throws that tantrum and tell me he's not behaving like he should be wearing a tiara. I want you to look at it. You're going to look at it differently when you see it.
Okay.
It's just diva behavior of the highest order.
Right. I mean, I'm looking at it, and what I see is a guy in a tiara who is not leading.
One of the underrated parts of the video is when he starts to really get in full tantrum mode. Kyle Korver's just like, no, come on, guys. It's okay. It's okay, man.
And no one's listening.
It's going to be okay. I promise.
No one's paying attention.
I watched that video, and it's like Chris Cote is Kyle Korver. Yeah. That is his role around here. Yep. When things go south, Chris Cody's always there to Kyle Korver us.
What does that mean? Explain.
Let's go, guys.
I'd like to understand.
It's always going to be okay. We got this. You give that off, even if you don't believe it. It's all right, guys. Come on. Hey, LeBron. JR just ruined everything. It's okay. We got this.
Yeah.
An underrated part is as LeBron drifts further away while Kyle Korver is doing this, Kyle Korver leans in a little bit closer to LeBron as if, hey, this is for you. We need our leader. Cheer up.
Trying to get his attention.
Yes. Yes. LeBron was paying no attention to anybody on that bench except himself.
Am I right? Put it on the poll, Guillermo. LeBron James temper tantrum. 8-year-old cartoon princess wearing a tiara? Yes or no? Because I'm telling you, you're going to look at that video differently. There are two ways. That video is so great that we can analyze it. It's like art. We can analyze it from many different angles. Watch that video right before it, and what you will see if you're looking at it, like that Yanni Laurel thing, is this J.R. Smith on a fast break to the wrong basket? Yes or no? If your answer is yes going in, you're going to see it. You're going to see everything after this was a lie about not knowing the score. This is J.R. Smith doing something worse than that. This is J.R. Smith going on a fast break the wrong way. Once I plant that in your head, you'll see it that way.
The Warriors are going to be having a parade, and we're still going to be breaking down this play from game one.
Yep. I'm telling you, to end the basketball for this show. Basketball will never get better for this show than it did with 4 seconds to go in game one.
It got better yesterday when LeBron gave us I've never looked at that dude and seen a princess. Ever. Ever. It's not something I see when I look at him. If you made me make a list of all the things I see when I see LeBron James, princess is the very last thing on the list. Last. Cartoon princess, maybe. Princess is last. And so it's just weird. The other thing that was weird was the other day when he's leaving the press conference, is the gift that keeps on giving. they're asking him all of these questions, and he's frustrated. He doesn't want to tell everyone, yeah, man, J.R. Smith is a bozo. You've seen him play. He doesn't want to do that. So Mark Schwartz is saying, can you tell me your mindset? Mark Schwartz is dancing around it. He doesn't want to just ask, hey, LeBron, JR's a bozo, huh?
He would have loved it phrased that way.
I know, but they don't want to do it that way, so they all do their stupid media dance, and at the end of it, LeBron's frustrated, and what does he do? Like cartoon cliche, picks up his sunglasses at 1 o'clock in the morning, puts in his earbuds, and grabs in a fit. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the pants that aren't pants that he pushed down in his rage as he left. And the bag is a $41,000 alligator skin bag by Thomas Brown.
I love that delicate dance that the media have to do when they know that someone's clearly bothered. He should have just went, LeBron, talk a little bit about how JR's a bozo. Just talk a little bit about it.
Didn't LeBron actually admonish the media by saying, be better tomorrow?
Yes, that's the last. That was the dismount.
Yeah.
Walking past Mark Schwartz, I think, he said.
But why can't we get so honest? Why can't we be so honest in these press conferences that this is the back and forth? Just get rid of all the layers of nonsense and dance that we have to do around this. Mark Schwartz asks LeBron, what the hell happened on the last play? LeBron, F you, Mark Schwartz. Press conference. End scene. Because that's what he's thinking. When he leaves, be better tomorrow. That's all theatrical soap opera nonsense. Like grabbing the bag, huffing off. Be better tomorrow, which is just one of the all-time great condescending lines.
It really is.
I mean, Guillermo, put it on the poll. Is be better tomorrow one of the great all-time condescending lines in the history of words?
There's a sound from Ryan Hollins giving a player's perspective. I never really assumed that the players would take that as disrespect. He has a comment on this where he says the media is being disrespectful by asking that question.
Flat out, I don't respect anything about that. And those type of reporters, when they come in the locker room, those are the guys we'll never give a story to, or they're pretty much not invited. The media pass revoked, or we just yell we're not talking to you unless we have to talk to you. So as a player and a guy who sat and watched that, I'm upset. It's disrespectful.
What's disrespectful?
He's got a job to do as well, man. He asked the right question.
But what is Ryan Hollins so upset about? What's disrespectful?
Well, because what Mark Schwartz is asking LeBron James to do there is throw a teammate under the bus. LeBron didn't do it. He didn't go for it, but that's what Mark Schwartz is asking him to do.
Hey, he's given him the invitation to do it if he chooses. I actually as somebody who's been on the receiving end of questions that were not received well, I actually like a spirited give and take between interviewer and interviewee. Just because I'm interviewing somebody, it doesn't mean everything I ask is a good question. The subject I'm interviewing has every right to say, man, that's a dumb question.
You were jealous of Mark Schwartz, weren't you?
Well, I'm telling you, I don't like it when Cam Newton denigrates a female reporter as he did last season. I don't like that, but otherwise, there's nothing wrong with an athlete getting it a
that's the
reporter.
Thing. One of the things about this stupid dance is the best case scenario for Mark Schwartz is the one that happened. LeBron's not going to say anything that's controversial or interesting.
That's why I'm saying Greg would like that, because then it becomes all about Greg.
But no, yes, it makes it all about Greg, but also makes it all professional wrestling, which is how we should be treating it.
This show ain't free. Time for some ads.
Spirited Gifts, people, we have told you that we are a Miami show. We are proudly Miami, and this is a Miami company, and we ask you to support the things that we cared about, and you always do. Spirited Gifts does some very nice things, and Juan here, he does an engineer. He does a great job around here, very quietly, very thanklessly. It's his 40th birthday today. Happy birthday, Juan. Spirited Gifts sent him something nice. Thank you to them, and thank you to Juan.
Yep, and thank you to Spirited Gifts. They are fantastic. Father's Day is coming up fast. I just purchased something for my dad last night. Get your shopping done by visiting spiritedgifts.com to get dad the gift he really wants and needs, and that is alcohol. Visit spiritedgifts.com/Dan for our Father's Day offer, which includes free shipping and free gift wrapping with all purchases. Order by June 8th and get free gift wrapping and free shipping. That's spiritedgifts.com/Dan. Spiritedgifts.com is a local Miami business.
Listen again to what I'm saying here, okay? Because I don't do this very often, and the audience, every damn time when we ask them to do something like this, they thunder in and they break the way that things are sold around here. So what I'm asking you is to support these people so that we can show everybody that it's okay to support this show. You support these people, and these people have supported us, and this is the kind of company we care about, so I'm asking you to do that. We don't do that very often.
Next. You're holding up the line, ma'am.
What did you say?
You're next in line for the water slide, ma'am. Feet forward and enjoy the ride.
Okay, dearie. This does look fun. Whee-oh! You melted me. I've melted.
The Wicked Witch of the West on a water slide? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
See what you've done. Oh!
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Dan Batard.
My dad did win a Purple Heart. I asked him once how he won the Purple Heart because you always think of, heroism in war. My dad was a cook, an Army cook, and he won a Purple Heart for falling off a truck and breaking his ankle.
Stugotz. So
not all Purple Heart winners are like heroes who save an entire battalion from enemy gunfire. Yes. But, God bless the Purple Heart winner. That's all I'm saying. And I love you, Dad. See you soon.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
All right, the show is moving a little quickly today. There are things happening. For example, Mike Ryan, lifelong Browns fan, just looked up at the television and was totally jarred that Joe Thomas has been out of football for 4 minutes and now looks like a Kenyan marathoner. 4 minutes, one of the great left tackles of all time. He looks emaciated. He looks like he's not eating enough. He looks like he's got an eating disorder.
He actually looks pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
He looks like he's glowing. He looks like he's happy. I'm so happy for him.
Because he's just out of the misery. All that weight he put on, it was comfort food, right?
I never noticed this, but he's a handsome man.
Right,
Very good looking.
You can never tell under the things that football make you inject into your face. You never know. Yes, Mike, it is fascinating. You take offensive linemen and you take them out of football and they start, if they had like car measurements on their face, you would just see the air leaving all of their bodies.
He's just gotten super lean. He always had broad shoulders, but now there's some definition there. Look at the definition in the shoulders. The biceps popping out. He's going to start getting vascular.
Yeah. He's going to, what? How skinny is he? That does not look like a Hall of Fame left tackle. That stopped looking like a Hall of Fame left tackle in 14 minutes. He's been retired for 14 minutes.
He looks like a Patriot wide receiver.
Yeah. Guillermo, how is your campaign for the All-Star game? Lewis Brinson, Marlins, your national campaign. How is that going?
Oh, we're rolling right now, Dan. I'd estimate, based on the pictures people have sent me via Twitter, that he's in the top 5 right now in NL outfielders. That's how much attention this is getting right now.
What is the slogan? Get Brin in or to Brinfinity and beyond?
Ooh, there's lots of good ones. We're Brin it to win it, Dan. There's also
Brin it to win it.
Ooh, I like that.
Brin Diesel,
good.
but that hasn't caught on.
Yeah, I'm still holding up for Stats Schmatz.
Stats Schmatz is good, too.
I love that.
For those of you who don't know, we're trying to get Lewis Brinson into the All-Star game because he's a very deserving candidate here for the Miami Marlins. And, it'll be fun to see him there. So to do that, go to MLB.com. You can click at the header. It says vote for the All-Star game. You can vote for both teams if you want, or you could just vote for him. Doesn't matter. 5 times a day, 35 times total per email. So just create a bunch of different emails.
Well, explain to me how this works, though. Why is our show on ESPN Ooze not daily trumpeting this campaign as you crusade? Because Lewis Brinson, the Miami Marlins deserve this player, the great Lewis Brinson. Mm-hmm. The city deserves it. The team deserves it. The team's history deserves it. As the face and representative for the Miami Marlins, not just now, but forevermore, Lewis Brinson needs to make an All-Star game as the symbol for greatness in this city and Miami baseball.
It's going to be great. He's the face of the team. It'd be great if he showed up there in the old teal uniform. That would be a cool thing. He's a hometown guy. We need to do it. Now, we have a soft rollout right now because we don't want to get voter fatigue. We still have a month of voting left. And you know what happens? Sometimes people get really excited and they just waste all their votes early on. We want to drag this out for a full month to make sure that he's in it until the end. And I'm telling you, if he's not in the top 5 next week, I'm going to be shocked. I'm going to be shocked. That's how much energy there is around this campaign right now.
Yep.
The nation is abuzz with this campaign, Dan. I'm telling you. It's not just Miami.
Yep.
Okay. So keep it in the news stream. But I've delayed 20 minutes in getting to something that's happening with Stugotz, and I don't know how to address this. He has been saying the word Murray for the last hour, and it's for two reasons. And one is funnier than the other. So can you just give me like 20 seconds on the other Murray story that you've been talking about, the one that I don't care about?
Oh, the Kyler Murray story. He's a quarterback at Oklahoma. He was selected number 9 in the Major League Baseball draft last night. So he's a top 10 pick, and he's going to get around $4 million, north of $4 million to sign with the Oakland A's. But I'm just wondering, so he goes back and plays quarterback at Oklahoma, which I would not do. He's going to go play football for free. He's not a big-time NFL prospect. He's going to play for Oklahoma for free and risk the career that's going to pay him millions upon millions of dollars. I wouldn't do it.
So that's the take. But the other Murray story is the interesting one, which is Stugotz, we're going to get him to do some cold calls here. We need him to do some cold calls on behalf of Brin It to Win It, where he makes cold calls and we record people with Stugotz trying to do a hard sell because he's a cold caller. Stugotz is great at this. He's been giving people tips on this for years.
I used to do it, and I was giving the guys tips. All you need to do, if you get a guy on the phone, you keep him there for 10 seconds or longer, you got him. And so when I used to cold call up in Boca slinging bonds, I used, Murray! Little tennis, little golf, Arnold Palmer, I'll meet you for lunch. And I would get him at 100,000.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz here for Hotel Tonight. You know, staycations are just as good as vacations, so why not knock off that hotel you've been putting off staying in right now with Hotel Tonight? Hotel Tonight is fantastic. It's an app, not a website, just an app. It's easy to use. I love it. My friends love it. Hotel Tonight partners with great hotels to get you incredible deals for tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. In fact, a friend of mine recently up in New York City, I told him about the app. He needed a hotel room that night. He used it that day and got himself at one of the nicest hotels in New York City, got himself 40% off what he would normally pay for that hotel. It is simple, guys. They partner with some incredible hotels and get you crazy good deals at super cool hotels, or you can actually book in advance. If you're more of a planner, it's an app only, which means it's really easy to use, and you can book a room in like 10 seconds. Seriously, time yourself. You can do it. Book next week, tonight. Book next month, tonight. Book for Memorial Day weekend, tonight. So download the Hotel Tonight app and start booking better deals at better hotels right now. Something better just came along. Hotel Tonight.
Dan Le Batard.
Ooh. Guillermo, sassy.
Stugotz.
You're sexy when you're sassy.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Cars, homes, boats, motorcycles, RVs, and more at Progressive.com. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The White House, they have rescinded their invitation to the Eagles. Aaron Judge has set a record for most strikeouts for a hitter across a doubleheader with 8. That's amazing. And finally, the rarely used small shadow pocket located above the main pockets of your jeans is often called the coin pocket. However, its intended use is not for loose change. Originally, that pocket was meant for a pocket watch. You have one of those, Greg, right?
I do indeed.
Yep. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
I had that one in my 20s. I had a pocket watch in my 20s.
Did you really?
It was a dark time. So I'm not making that up, by the way. It's absolutely
amazing.
so. I was ridiculous. I went suspenders a while too, which is both of these things are
no,
shocking.
you did not.
I did.
Suspenders.
There are photographs of me with suspenders.
Were you smoking a pipe at the time?
No,
as well?
I wasn't. It was a very strange time.
Yeah.
Did you ever wear a beret? Too? I feel like I've seen photos of you.
It wasn't a beret. It wasn't a beret.
I've seen you in a beret.
No, it wasn't.
There are photos of this infamous New Orleans trip where Greg Cote woke up with mashed potatoes in his hair, where you're wearing a beret.
It's beret-ish, I think.
Yeah, it's
more ridiculous hat wear than merely a beret. It's in the beret family. And yes, it's as ridiculous. If anyone can find a photo of me in suspenders,
I'm searching.
Yes, you would delight.
What was the end game with the beret? What were you going for?
You know what? It was a dark time in my life.
Intellectual?
I don't know.
How many slam poetry sessions did you go to?
All right. Listen to me. All right. I'm the big joke around here. But what happened at the end of the last segment, I need to re-examine it because
I like to stay where we are right now.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
Let's go back.
No, we can get back to the beret, the suspenders, and all the things that people would be making fun of me about. But what just happened during the break, if you're new to our show, Greg Cote of the Miami Herald is doddering, and you can click on his column, keep him in the newspaper industry, which is flourishing. Just click on the column, and boom, Greg Cote will be thankful for your time.
No, I'm fine.
You got to get this looked at, man.
You got to get it looked at.
No, I'm fine.
You're ruining the show with all of your coughing. Okay, we've been enduring this. We've been enduring this for 7 days with you. Your wife's complaining about you keeping her up.
Good Lord. All night I'm doing that. No, I'm fine. All night long. All night long.
All right, we're back there, Mike. Go ahead and get All Night Long. I'm sure Greg Cote will sing it.
No, that's out of my register.
Is it?
Yeah. My voice doesn't go that high now.
The end of the segment, the end of the last segment. Greg Cote for years doesn't know when the end of the hour is, even though there was a time on television I was wearing a baseball cap with a clock on it. The same
Bring it
time.
back.
It wasn't helpful. At the end of segments, our whole goal is to make him forget that it's the end of the hour, and he always steps into it. And
subterfuge.
We are now the Globetrotters against him. We are the Globetrotters. We are working from all angles. We've done it on the phone. We've done it from Marlins games. We've had relatives do it. There are very few Cotes who haven't done it to Greg Cote. So this is the game, and me and Stugotz have been playing it for a long time. And at the end of this segment, I'm just tossing this story to Stugotz to get him to tell a story quickly. And our only goal is to clip Greg Cote on the end of the segment.
Yeah.
So please explain to me and the audience after Mike plays this, explains, because I know you were looking at the clock, and for years you've been putting your hairy forearm over the clock where Cote can see it while talking. You have done this for years to conceal this gag.
Have you noticed, Greg?
That's one of my telltale signs. The left forearm.
But he had no idea. I know the look on his face. I've slaughtered it for you, the listening public. I know the look. He had no idea. Greg Cote was out of it. He was disoriented. He was fascinated by Stugotz's story. But Stugotz got so caught up in remembering his heyday as a cold caller.
Good time.
that Stugotz totally forgot about the clock as well, because he's just sitting here. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen him do in a catalog, a library that is larger than all the libraries in this country of dumb stuff Stugotz has done.
I was giving the guys tips. All you need to do, if you get a guy on the phone, you keep him there for 10 seconds or longer, you got him. And so when I used to cold call up in Boca slinging bonds, I used Murray! Little tennis, little golf, Arnold Palmer, I'll meet you for lunch. And I would get him at 100,000. That's terrible. Listen, unfair to me that you threw it to me, not on one, but two stories with about 18 seconds to go. If I didn't know better, I think you were trying to get me on the hard network out. I'll be honest with you.
It sounded like
two stories, and I had about 15 minutes to go.
It's my fault.
It sounded like your story wasn't going to end for another 10 minutes.
Not going to carry the whole hour with that story. I mean,
when was this story going to end? Like, I'd like for it to end now, and I don't think we have enough time in the rest of the show.
By the way, it's a fine what you just did to Dan blaming him for your mistake.
Oh, that's a fine? Really?
Yeah.
Real? Oh, man. But what if he was purposely trying to get me there? You guys don't know. Do some investigation. Do some research.
God, you can't blame that on me.
All right, I owe you money.
I want to know if you closed the deal with Murray.
I always close the deal with Murray. I would
Murray!
Purposely call Murray's in Boca.
Murray!
I got no money on me.
Does that work? Roy, what are you pointing at him for? Roy, what did you see?
Oh, he has money. He's got
$3.
What? Murray! I mean, I would just go through the phone book looking for Murray's in Boca and Aventura.
So that's you getting excited about talking to Murray?
Yeah, because if you keep Murray on the phone for more than 10 seconds, you've got Murray. Because the next thing you know, you're meeting him up in Boca, you're playing a little tennis, you're having an Arnold Palmer, some lunch and all that. Murray! And then he gives you a $250,000 check. That's how it works.
This sounds like a crime.
That's what I used to do. Not crime. I was selling municipal bonds. I wasn't selling crime. I had nothing criminal about it. Murray! Me and Murray.
He listened so poorly that you said that's a crime, and he steamrolled you with, that's what I used to do.
Murray!
Just shouting.
Saved it up on the back.
Shouting about his criminal behavior. So what the hell's the end of the story? What would you do with Murray? The story that clipped you here, what are we working on?
Well, the cold calling to get Lewis Brinson into the All-Star game, which we're going to do, I was just telling the guys, keep anyone on the phone for longer than 10 seconds and you got them. You just do what you got to do and say what you got to say, but you also have to know your audience. So for Murray and Boca or Aventura, it really doesn't matter. Murray! The language that Murray speaks is tennis, Arnold Palmer's, and golf. Murray!
Oh, my God, how does that work in sales? Please explain to me how that is good at sales.
He doesn't. He's lying. He's a liar.
Murray! I got a $250,000 check that says otherwise.
I believe him. How could you guys possibly doubt him?
And this wasn't a crime?
No, it's straight business, man. I was selling municipal bonds, tax-free. Cold calling. Murray's. Murray!
All right, we got to do this. We got to cold call people with Stugotz.
You okay?
I mean, it's contagious.
Whoa,
his coughing, I told you before.
My God.
The coughing is contagious.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
Because the coughing is contagious.
Time for some ads.
No, I'm fine.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. It's the coughing contagious. I feel like we could get the entire national audience coughing if we keep playing enough sounds, and I keep getting this from Cody.
Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
Do you mind cleaning that up and tearing up papers and stuff when we're not on the air?
Stugotz.
I did it without really thinking. It was far from the mic. Didn't think it'd pick it up. As a kid, I used to make the sound of ripping paper. I used to delight my friends with that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can go like that.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Well, my friends, the time has come. Raise the roof and have some fun.
Slow down.
The
work to be done. Let the music play on. Play on.
I'm going to start over again. Sorry.
Hold on, we got to start again. We can't. We're not allowed because
too slow.
Because
song.
of rights feeds. The hip hop's too fast, and this is too slow.
I need a mid tempo. That's why I love country music. It's all two step.
Here it comes. Feel it.
Come on. Motto.
Breeding. Long. Night long, all night long. Zagaki.
I don't know what. For the love of God, that's it. Stop to me. Christ Almighty.
Not one of my favorite songs. Not in my wheelhouse.
You already said it was your favorite. It's the only reason we played it.
You know, the Richie song I do sort of like is where he talks about dancing on the roof. That's not bad.
Dancing on the Ceiling?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, you don't know these songs well enough to be singing them on the radio.
Oh,
please.
what a feeling to be dancing on the roof.
I guess if you're dancing on the roof, that's pretty neat, too.
Can you imagine if Lionel Richie, the original writer of that song, came up with roof, and he's like, oh, it's so close. It could have been ceiling. It rhymes with feeling. The roof. Dancing on the roof is what you just called that, Lionel Richie?
One of his favorites.
Stealing roof. Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to mistake those two words. I wasn't sure what was what.
Ceiling and roof.
Yeah. I was also an adult before I realized that the word misled wasn't pronounced misled, which I don't like to admit.
Happy 62nd birthday.
Thank you.
To Kenny G.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care.
Yours was 10 years ago.
Will you wait until he's done? Are you forgetting how to do the show? Like that, we've been doing this for how long?
Murray!
Are you forgetting how to do the show? We're so inside that you're that oblivious?
I'm sorry.
Oh, what a feeling when you're dancing on the roof.
Stugotz, how is it possible that just happened? Explain to me how it could be happy 62nd birthday, Kenny G, and you know what we do when that happens, and you know why it's funny. And it's not just because Stephen A. Smith says happy birthday.
Happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
I thought you were going to do it again right there.
No.
How? What happens to you? Do you short circuit?
I'm on shaky ground right now. I'm not going to do anything to further infuriate you, man.
This is who I work with. This is Mike, it's not sustainable. Mike.
Murray!
This is who I've tied my allegiances to. This.
Murray!
The guy, someone explain to me how that works in sales. How is Stugotz good at sales? To me, it's just as absurd as that working in sales. Somebody calls you and this works. I mean, the two of them are just as absurd. Saying someone's name like that, how does that get you a sale?
Murray!
How do you get human connection out of that?
Let me tell you the bond game, okay? This is the municipal bond game. Tax freeze, by the way, okay? Let me tell you the game, okay? The game is, because who's buying bonds? It's older guys. It's Murray up in Boca Raton. That's who's buying the bonds, man. And so what do you do? And because he's old, chances are Murray a little bit lonely. A little bit lonely.
No!
Dan, I'm just telling you. Yeah, I'm telling you. And so you call him Murray, and you know his kids are tired of him. They moved out of the house. You know, they don't want to deal with Murray anymore. And so you become his friend, and you go up, you play some tennis, you have, you have a little BLT, and then you have an Arnold Palmer, and, maybe, 9 holes of golf, and then you got yourself $500,000. Boom. Murray!
Not how that works. It can't be.
It is.
It can't be how that works.
I was really good at it.
That's despicable.
Why? I was really friends with him.
Why? You can't be friends with somebody.
I'll be friends with whomever hands me $500,000. Damn right. Or what their name is.
You can't sincerely be a friend of Murray if this is what you shout when you call him on the phone.
Murray! I mean, you got to shout. He's hard of hearing.
That's what a friend shouts.
Murray! And that's how you talk to your friends. You're right. Murray! That is Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
The Kendrick Perkins story, Stugotz.
Oh, yeah.
How funny is this? Steph Curry's got bad ankles. Kendrick Perkins, I don't know how to properly describe how he was sitting on the bench in a suit. But, I mean, how do you describe? Let me for the radio audience that perhaps hasn't seen how Kendrick Perkins was sitting. For the love of God.
I'm fine. It's
to rodeo clowns. I will never win. Like, I can't this way. I can't. What are you guys, what is the company asking me to do? I cannot work with this level of immorality and incompetence.
Dan Le Batard.
Greg, are you going to say anything? Or are you just going to sit there checking the internet?
When I have something to say, I say it. What I was thinking of as you said that was that I think Black History Month is also split into 2 half months, which is terrible.
That's not true.
It's the first half and the second half of February.
There you go.
Right.
Stugotz.
No, it's February into March, isn't it?
It's February.
No, it's
Hang on.
Good contribution, though, when you decided to talk. That was good.
Black History Month.
Yeah, you're... Greg.
I'm like a dog with a bone on this. I'm wrong. Okay.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The White House has rescinded their invitation to the Philadelphia Eagles. Aaron Judge has set a record for most strikeouts for a hitter across a doubleheader with 8. And finally, Houston bass producer and Rap-A-Lot record CEO Jay Prince says he stepped in to stop the Drake-Pusha T beef. According to Jay Prince, he personally called Drake to ask him not to release what Jay Prince described as an overwhelming musical response to Pusha T's The Story of Adidon. One that would have taken aim at Kanye as well. After speaking with Kanye, he didn't want this. I saw this going to a place that I feel would have ended his career if Drake would have put out this song and he had on him. I don't know. Fine. Prince explained while a guest on Sway in the morning. This story's annoying.
I mean, the story's annoying?
Reading's annoying.
The story's annoying.
Who cares? Drake, Pusha T, Kanye.
It's pretty interesting.
I'm fine.
If you say so. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. I'm tired of it. No one cares, man. A lot of people care about Drake and Kanye.
Yes. Yeah. Is that a thing that you just said seriously?
Hey, it's Jordan and LeBron, please.
Wait. Yes, there are a lot of people who care about Drake and Kanye.
Yeah.
What kind of moronic thing is that to say?
Debatable. Waste of time. I mean, listen, Kanye, this whole is like an act, you know? This whole thing, he just does it for publicity. He really does. They both do. That's what they do.
The top 7 songs on Spotify streaming and Apple Music are all 7 songs on Kanye's EA album.
See, it's working.
Amazing.
Bunch of fools.
Because you don't care about Kanye and Drake, nobody does.
It's me lashing out because I couldn't read the story, really. Is
all
what
right,
it is.
well,
I'm certain it's interesting to some people.
This allows me to show the audience something behind the curtain. I want to show people, like, some of you are very new to what we do around here. And so just let me explain the joke one time, even though I should never explain the joke. I should never explain the joke. Let me just explain one time, this one last time. On Tuesdays, here's the deal. Stugotz just articulated this during the break, Mike. He just said, you know what the name of this show should be? Because of the way the last segment ended with the two of them just being awful, just awful. One of them awful at radio, one of them awful at human decency.
Thank you.
The joke is, Stugotz just said it. If this were the sitcom, it'd be the name. I'm trying to work here. Stugotz just said it. The segment ended, and Stugotz looked at me like, God, I'm so annoying. I'm awful. The name of this show, because it's 2:90. It's like trying to wrangle 2 kids at the supermarket, and one of them's evil. And I'm sitting here trying to do the show. So I'm the straight man. Like, we all know who we are. They know where to annoy me and how to annoy me. And the problems with this show start when I get angry because they're so bad.
Watch the tone, please. That's $5.
But Stugotz is like, at the end of that segment, is like, Stugotz is great. Dan, see how great it is when you react that way and you're having fun with us? And I'm trying to work here.
So that's the working title, 80-20?
I'm just saying the whole thing has worked this way as a spoof, hiding in the shadows at ESPN. We don't even know who listens to us. We keep getting promoted. Like, the whole thing has worked. We're a spoof inside the machine. Stop bleeping it up. Like, we've arrived, Stugotz. We arrived. We're here at ESPN making fun of everything at ESPN.
Yeah.
Do better tomorrow.
That's another name for the show. I'll give you credit for that one.
Just for Tuesdays, Guillermo, do you like that as the name for the show? I'm trying to work here on Tuesdays only.
Yeah, it's a good name. Tuesdays are the best days. Just fit in, Dan. Everybody's having fun.
Media's dying all over the place. Everyone's hanging on by a thread.
No, I'm fine.
We're in the middle of the machine. Media's dying. It's coughing. It's wheezing.
Literally.
Old man dinosaur over here is the representation of print media. We're inside of the machine making fun of the machine. Do it right. I'll pay the $5.
Yeah, glad you said it. It's closer to 10. I mean, I gave you a warning. Usually when there's a warning, we go from, like, the warning, it's 5 if you do it, and I don't warn you. But once I've warned you, you should know better. Now it's 10. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Oh, man. I'll try to do better.
Happy 49th birthday to Brian McKnight.
Happy birthday to him.
I mean, it's Kanye. It's just like enough already. I mean, geez, Taylor Swift. I'll get in a beef with her. I'll get in a beef with this guy, that one, this one, that one. Boom, top 7 songs on the charts. And we all fall for it every single time. It's such a joke. Please. Kanye. Oh, he's a little crazy, a little off. Oh, we need some help. Top 10 songs. Worth $1 billion. Genius is what he is.
Mike,
we're all suckers.
Suckers, S-U-C-K-A-S.
I don't know why it came out that way.
Why did it come out that way? Does anybody in our audience
try to do better?
Yeah.
You can't even laugh without sounding like you're a wheezing lung that's deflating.
Trying to talk through it.
No, I'm fine.
It's not necessary. Just go home and get it checked. It's not. Oh, for the love of God.
I'm fine.
The way that Kendrick Perkins was sitting. How would you describe that? How would somebody describe that to the uninitiated, the person who wasn't watching the game? You got a sensitive situation. Steph Curry's got bad ankles. The only thing that could really derail the Warriors is Steph Curry having bad ankles. Mm-hmm. They'll survive just about anything else. That Cleveland team we know is pedestrian. They can survive anything else other than Steph Curry's ankles because they're a different team when he's healthy.
They might be able to survive that. They might, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I think, what do you got from here? Already up 2-0? If right now I knock, go ahead and put it on the poll, Guillermo. If I knock Steph Curry out of this series right now, are the Warriors still favored? Wow, that's a sportsy poll. But I think they might be. And so he's taking a 3-point shot. And the way Kendrick Perkins is sitting there, how would you describe it? Not pornographically to an audience, because his legs are splayed in a way nobody sits like that.
Right.
Respectfully.
He's very relaxed. And he's got his legs spread out. It's like when you're trying to get down an airplane aisle and the guy's not really making much of an effort to let you in, in your row. Yep. He's just not.
Oh, but I thought it was even wider than that, and I wasn't sure it's because it's so large. I thought it's not like a guy having a foot in the aisle. It's a guy purposely trying to recline in a way that, hey, maybe I'll hurt somebody tonight. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, nobody sits like that, not professionally, not respectfully in a professional environment. And it makes you wonder, wait a minute, is he hoping to get lucky on one of those? Is Kendrick Perkins hoping to get lucky on Steph Curry on one of those because he could just say he sits like that?
He was trying to get in the way by not getting out of the way. Proper etiquette when someone's going to the bench is to, lean a little bit out of the dude's way so he doesn't roll an ankle or something doesn't happen to his lower body. And Kendrick Perkins made a point to not move.
Right. I think we need to check, though, was he sitting the same way when Cleveland was on offense? Like, because I don't know, I'm asking seriously. Like, if
no,
LeBron,
but what difference does that make? They're on the other side of the court. What difference does that make?
No, but did he change the way he was? Because they don't want a Cavalier to get hurt. They had to be going that way at some point.
Oh, but okay.
I mean, there hasn't been.
I'm investigating.
There hasn't been an instance where LeBron's diving into Kendrick Perkins' arms, but I'm fairly certain he'd either try to help him, or get out of the way, and not just stick his legs out there to try to trip him up.
Yeah,
that's an asinine hypothesis.
I'm watching it right. It is. I am watching it right now, and the Warriors have every right to be upset because they are irked by this, and they have every reason to be irked by it.
Yeah.
I mean, Steph Curry is clearly walking like Dan. He had plenty of time to move his legs, and he simply did not do it. So, yes, I think he's hoping for one of those.
Right. It's magnified because it's Steph Curry, but one of the many unwritten rules in sports is that if you're on the sideline, you yield to the person in play. I mean, it's just, you see that on football sidelines, you see it all over sports. And so that really exacerbates.
But is it possible? Is it possible in any way that Kendrick Perkins has really long legs and back problems, and he needs to recline like that? I can't even think of the way that Kendrick Perkins wouldn't think that that's not disrespectful and dirty. Like, I don't even know how he argues it to himself unless he's in. I don't know if I were a lawyer arguing on his behalf. Hey, you don't have any intent here. I believe you, my client is innocent. What the hell's our argument?
Steph Curry, you could read his lips when he challenges Kendrick Perkins, and Kendrick Perkins does a thing where he stands up and reveals himself to be much more of a giant than Steph Curry. Steph Curry looks right up to him, doesn't back down, and says, "You playing tonight?"
Yeah, that was funny.
All I want to do is say zoom, 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 and a boom, boom.
I mean, it's what they signed Kendrick Perkins for. I mean, just to sit there and don't move, Kendrick. Put those legs out, don't move, and that's it. You know, hopefully someone will trip over you.
It's a true testament to how useless he is in today's NBA that they can't use up his 6 fouls on the court.
No, they need him to be off the court in a suit. Guillermo, put it on the poll. If Kendrick Perkins does that, do you give him the immediate Finals MVP? If he actually succeeds in his nefarious plot to injure Steph Curry, would you give him Finals MVP? I'd give it to him even in a loss. Hell of an effort, Kendrick. That's a good idea. Make yourself useful.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Dan Le Batard.
My hair is unfashionably age-inappropriate long, perhaps the longest it has been since college, and may continue as such. I'm not sure why. Last vestiges of the of the extreme outer limits of midlife crisis.
Stugotz.
Feudal shield held wobbly against the encroachment of mortality. Maybe the last stage before the onset of Mr. Rogers-style sweaters and the silent, surrendering acknowledgement of official old age.
All truth.
If this is how you always wrote, you would be like one of America's greatest authors.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So this story, which is dynamite at ESPN and beyond, because nobody wants the Twitter hands of Donald Trump, as Mina Kimes has said. I mean, the NFL's got a lot of rich, powerful people. They do not want the Twitter hands of Donald Trump. But if you can step back for just a second from just the total absurdity of the idea that we're sitting there and still making this about the flag when somebody was trying to make it about police brutality. If you can just eliminate that part of it, which you can't, that is very heavy and hurts people and becomes arguments at every turn, and you just distill it to the action, that's funny. The fact that the Eagles don't want to go to the White House and what they're doing at 3 p.m. instead is just playing the anthem and other wonderful music. Like, if you could somehow separate those two things, I don't know if it's possible in today's America, but push off to the side the idea, the whole not funny idea of police brutality and racism. And hey, the dude's actually unemployed now. Wait a minute. That happened in 2018. He got literally blackballed. That's a thing that happened. And then the owners bowed and then the owners knelt. Really? Okay. If you could take away the not funny in that, that's great trolling. Like just, and it's why I rooted for him as an anarchist as president. just because, well, that'll be funny to watch once in a while. Now, again, you can't separate it from the other stuff. It's not possible. But I'm like, yeah, put that in the White House. It'll be really funny.
Eagles not coming. You are no longer invited. I am just going to blare the national anthem.
He might as well get out there and dance to it.
And other music.
Right, and other.
What do you imagine the other music to be?
That's what's great. That's what's great. And other wonderful music. Like what? What do you imagine the rest of the music is?
Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
I would think.
Is
right?
that what they're going to do?
On a continuous loop.
The Pledge of Allegiance isn't really a song, though, is it?
Yeah, you put some music in the background, me coughing, and then all of a sudden it's a song.
It's a pledge. It's not a song.
Really not a song.
Really?
Yeah.
What other?
America the Beautiful.
It's sing-song, yeah. Pledge allegiance to the flag. You know, this is like
so the Eagles don't want to come to the White House. Instead, we're going to rock it out with like hugely patriotic music.
Take me out to the ball game.
It's for all the fans I wanted to attend, too. Oh, wow. It's not the Eagles this time, but don't worry, wonderful music.
Can you guys see the funny in it?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, it's all really silly. Like, what's happening now has nothing to do. Nothing. What's happening now with this conversation in America has nothing to do with the flag and respect. It's just this funny thing, and the owners told you this in depositions. It's just that Trump could squeeze him on it because it was easy.
Mm-hmm. He's brilliantly flipped the script on this whole thing.
But this, like, I mean, that's a professional wrestler. Mm-hmm. Like, that is exactly how a professional, if I could just get rid of, the pesky things like the police brutality and the racism, we could laugh. It would be wonderful. Think about what it would be. Think about what do you imagine it if we could just step back from that?
Stugotz here for Hotel Tonight. Staycations are just as good as vacations, so why not knock off that hotel you've been putting off staying in right now with Hotel Tonight? Hotel Tonight is fantastic. It's an app, not a website, just an app. It's easy to use. I love it. My friends love it. Hotel Tonight partners with great hotels to get you incredible deals for tonight, tomorrow, and beyond. In fact, a friend of mine recently up in New York City, I told him about the app. He needed a hotel room that night. He used it that day and got himself at one of the nicest hotels in New York City, got himself 40% off what he would normally pay for that hotel. It is simple, guys. They partner with some incredible hotels and get you crazy good deals at super cool hotels, or you can actually book in advance. If you're more of a planner, it's an app only, which means it's really easy to use, and you can book a room in like 10 seconds. Seriously, time yourself. You can do it. Book next week, tonight. Book next month, tonight. Book for Memorial Day weekend, tonight. So download the Hotel Tonight app and start booking better deals at better hotels right now. Something better just came along. Hotel Tonight.
Don Le Batard.
Texter writes in, does ESPN brass listen to this show? They can't.
Stugotz.
How could this possibly continue in a prime spot for this long? It's just truly awful radio.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We'll break into programming here as soon as this show starts with, there it is.
Oh.
Fake Odell Beckham. Whole Odell Beckham Steez. His clothes, Steez is Odell Beckham. His hair was exactly Odell Beckham, except he was like 10 years older than Odell Beckham. I tried to take a picture of him, and I was trying to be slick. He looked at the camera like, yeah, you taking a picture of Odell Beckham. He's so fake Odell Beckham that a woman walked up to him in his face and said...
And said it to him.
And I quote, look at this fake Odell Beckham.
Oh, no.
And he was like, yeah, what's up? He was real cool about it. Because that's what you got to be when you fully commit to fake Odell Beckham.
That's a pretty good fake person to be at a club in New York.
Yeah, but
right?
it don't take long before they realize you are not Odell Beckham.
Good point.
Yeah. Apparently, Steph Curry doesn't appreciate anyone else being called MVP in his house.
Ooh.
Though my 81-year-old father via text nominated J.R. Smith for Dummy of the Year, being named Game 1 MVP by fans at Oracle Arena was an adequate substitute. But Steph looked like a real MVP, like the 2016 Steph, going for 33, 7, and 8 with a finals record 9 threes. As a team, the Warriors couldn't miss. A reminder that the Cavs don't guard so much and that the Warriors are at their best when Steph is in control. So let's get started with this. When the Cavs have to face this Steph Curry, they got no chance. Am I wrong here?
No, you're not. And the knock on Oracle from my friends in the Bay is that Oracle doesn't really get down like it used to. You know, like every night, Bomani Jones, I don't know if you know this, every night used to be Filipino Heritage Night in the Bay Area. But, man, these billionaires love They love it when Steph Curry grabs the aux cord, and they love to dance to that. Man, no one loves Steph Curry like super rich dudes in Oracle love Steph Curry because he went and did in the fourth quarter last night what we've seen him do pretty historically in the third.
Yeah, but the thing with Steph, and they've been lighting up poor George Hill. Like George Hill, right. Well, George Hill got off on that free throw because JR did the whole JR thing. But one thing, if we watch George Hill's career, George Hill's eyes get like this, like big times. You can see it all over him, even when he's playing well like he was in this game. They've been killing him defensively. He has been the weakest defender the Cavs have had. And when he gets caught on Steph Curry, they are just lighting him on fire. Once that happens, man, this is so open for everybody else. Like, I don't know, other than maybe like LeBron. Yes, LeBron gets guys shots. He gets the ball where they need him. Steph gets dudes so wide open just because you have to guard him from the parking lot.
I was texting with Brandon Payne, Steph's trainer, who I really only text when something really bad is happening, like his ankles are falling apart, or when something good is happening, like last night. And he used a word that I think is a pejorative for many other shooters, which is Steph is a rhythm shooter, right? Steph is a rhythm shooter, but his rhythm is unlike any others. Brandon used the term patiently aggressive, right? Steph has this weird thing where when he gets going, he is unstoppable, but it needs to get him there first, right? He needs to get into that flow with his footwork and the spacing that you mentioned. But when he's there is no one like him in the history of the human race.
Well, also, the thing with him with 9 for 17 from three that is interesting is that Steph feels kind of held back by the Steve Kerr offense. He would like to shoot more. If you're going to let him put up 17 to get to the point of making 9, oh boy, this thing gets spooky. And then Steph then continues to trick all these children into believing that they can be that good.
You too can be a 6'3" son of a pro athlete.
Steph Curry, everything about Steph Curry looks like you can do this at home. You cannot do this at home. Like, he is so particularly and uniquely good at things that we all feel like we should be capable of doing. But it's almost like golf at this point. I mean, why can't I make this putt? It's just right there.
And you know what's interesting also is Kevin Durant watching a guy like Steph Curry on the night that KD is the most efficient KD and realizing, these billionaires still don't love me like that.
And you might work best as number 2 in these parts.
That is also fair. But I understand that every MVP debate is designed to self-destruct. I understand this because I did high school debate.
I kind of did.
And high school debate taught me at least 2 things. 1, puberty is hard. And 2, if 2 people can't agree on the basic definition of a word like valuable, the ensuing argument will be pointless. But I am not here to argue anymore, Bomani. I am here to offer a warning. If LeBron James is not the most valuable player in the NBA Finals, words are meaningless. LeBron is showing us that he is most valuable under any conceivable definition of the term. And he should win the award even if the Cavs get swept.
Way to come out the box, taking it just a little bit too far.
That's the take America should come to expect.
The first part I totally related to is I did high school debate and all of that stuff, and I roll with your idea of valuable because LeBron, the argument of terms, all of that stuff. But you're not the MVP if you get swept. You're just not the MVP if you get swept. Now, you get some theoretical argument. It's like the swing vote theory, right? Your vote only matters if it tips this whole thing over, right? He's the best player there is. This is a very Wilt Chamberlain sort of argument if we get down to the bottom of it, because you look at so much of what he does, and you cannot take away from the greatness of it. However, I've been brainwashed just like everybody else into the sports definition of valuable. And what is your value if you lose? It is not your fault that you lost. It's just hard to make you the MVP. But not to the point of like 2015 Andre Iguodala Finals MVP or Kawhi Leonard Finals MVP that year.
But what if LeBron James has games like he had in Game 1 where it's 51-8-8 and they lose, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the problem, is that LeBron James, I feel like we have an opportunity here to do something that everybody in sports talks about, but no one ever has an actionable plan to execute, which is, how do we actually punish the Warriors for stacking the deck like they have? And to me, the only way to do it is by seizing on this award, which is, by the way, voted on by how many people? 11 people? 11 of our peers? I'm going for these swing votes, man. This is achievable. Like, LeBron James, you could argue, right? You mentioned when Iguodala won it. Iguodala won it because he held LeBron to like 35 plus and a triple-double, right? And Kevin Durant won it last year while LeBron James became the first person in NBA Finals history to actually average a straight-up triple-double. He is proving that he deserves this award based on the merits right now.
I get you. It's just hard to make that argument after Steph Curry probably had a better game yesterday. Yeah, whole thing. That's a tricky little
Jerry West.
Yes, tricky little jingle board you put together there, and I smashed that thing. So the Cavs are down 2-0, which isn't terribly surprising. But being competitive 7 of the 8 quarters played in Oakland, having a real chance to win game 1, and not falling apart after JR's Nick Anderson moment. Hey, man, it could have gone way worse. Yeah, moral victory is a minor league. But look on the court. Look in the box score. Look out for your favorite fledgling television show. I'm serious. These first 2 games should be encouraging for Cleveland. The Cavs absolutely can win this series. I do think they can, and it goes back to what I've been talking about for a while now with the Warriors, Pablo. After a while, these things get wobbly. These runs get wobbly. They're the same team. It's kind of how your favorite artist could put out a bad album, right? They're still the same person they happen to be, but these things get a little bit shaky. Did the Warriors really look that great in these games to make you feel like this is on the way to a sweep? I don't feel like that at all.
We are so reactionary as sports fans, as sports consumers, and I know that because at least I am reactionary, because it does feel like we totally forgot what just happened in the Western Conference Finals. This team got pushed to 7 by a team that no one thought should have done as much to them. And we also just forgot kind of what happened in game 1 of the series, where LeBron James made this all very complicated. So if the argument at bottom that you are making is LeBron has played the Warriors, the Cavs, I should say, have played the Warriors 3 times, and the Cavs have won 1 of them after being down 2-0, I don't think we should write off the Cavs based on that evidence alone.
Well, also, let's evaluate what game 2 was. Like, if you wanted to make a very simple sort of thing that happened there, the Warriors made everything. The Cavs made nothing, right? And that game was competitive going into the end of the third quarter.
It was.
It was a 10-point game, but the part, I guess, that's encouraging for you if you're Cleveland, the Warriors have been obliterating people in the third quarters. It's almost become cliche to talk about it, but you looked at it when in the second quarter and the Cavs are getting that down to about 5, and then the lead stretched out even further, and you're like, oh, well, the third quarter's coming up next. The Cavs managed to weather that third quarter. They've weathered a lot of things that other teams have gotten knocked out by. Let's see how game 3 goes.
It is disheartening, though, when JaVale McGee is 6 for 6 from the field and scores 12 points.
But I think they were like a 0 plus minus for the time.
Yeah, right. The net effect, but still, the emotional effect was profoundly negative for the Cavs. But the most compelling video from these last 2 days, it wasn't even aired on the TV broadcast. There is one specific clip I saw while semi-consciously scrolling through NBA Twitter on my couch after midnight. And I don't know if you've seen it out there in America already, but I don't really care. Because game 2 was cool and all, but this here is a rare window onto LeBron James after JR'd more than JR ever JR'd in game 1. So Howie, please, can we roll this video that I want to present to the people? Okay. This is how it starts, and here is the huddle. LeBron James is inquiring the timeout situation. Ty Lue is informing him they had a timeout. And that is LeBron James reckoning with his existence. Yo.
Dude, the thing about it is, if you watch that whole clip, JR hits the bench. Nobody's talking to JR. And to be fair, nobody's talking to anybody.
No.
Everyone is just, what is there to say? Because nobody wants to hear that's all right. Because it's not all right. It is the opposite of all right. So you got James Posey over there behind the bench, David Jones. None of those guys, they're not saying a single word. And then at the end of it, James Posey's like, all right, man, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Because you realize, oh, wow, there is more of the game. How the hell did this just happen?
The new character in this play is Ty Lue, because there have been whispers around the Cavs all year about how much LeBron did or didn't love Ty Lue. And Bo, I have a question for you. Does this look like this man loves Ty Lue?
Here's the thing, though. I don't blame anybody for not calling a timeout. LeBron was in a position to call a timeout. It looked like he may have tried. But why I don't blame anybody for not calling a timeout? How long would it take you to realize under any circumstance that J.R. Smith wasn't thinking about shooting? When is the time ever before this that you saw J.R. Smith and he wasn't thinking about shooting? J.R.'s got the ball and he's open. Your assumption is that he is going to shoot. Just all of it, though, with LeBron, just like this. So we actually, are you serious? Oh, man. As terrible as this was, it's one of the most boneheaded plays it's ever been. We're all here for the jokes. Like, I feel like the beauty of social media in 2018 is that we have taken these things that the sports media otherwise.
How long should we go with this, Mike? When should we get out of this?
10 minutes ago. Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
Marriage at some point, I think for a lot of people, they get down to, and this is really a sad part about marriage, where you're just having sex one day a week. And that one day a week is Sunday. And so I love Sundays, but I hate everything I have to do leading up till Sunday, which is essentially agree with everything my wife says and does everything she asks me to do. And I'm only doing that for the Sundays. Because if I don't do it, there ain't no Sundays. And I can't live without my Sundays.
Stugotz.
I wonder if Abby hates Sundays.
Oh, she despises them.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
They're still talking?
Oh, they just stopped talking.
First segment.
That was, wow. How do you talk that long without taking a break?
Wait, I just want to be clear. They went 18 minutes?
Straight.
No commercials?
No commercials.
Did anyone breathe?
I counted maybe two. Two breaths.
It's gonna have more words per minute than any show in the history.
It looks so clean. Did they shoot that in 70 millimeter? Was Tarantino behind the camera?
Yeah. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm super tired.
Well, no, that's what made you tired, right? It's not them two talking. It's the music chasing you.
The music did build tension.
Non-stop. Nothing's happening. They're not going to get to 71 that way.
Seamless transitions. I didn't even know they switched topics, and they were on 3 different topics.
Yeah, I like that, but I also noticed 18 minutes into their new show and no discussion about LeBron and Jordan. I'll have to have a talk with the guys.
Which is to a large...
I'll talk to them. I'll take care of that one.
Which speaks to a larger concern Billy had, and what she said at one point, who's winning?
Yeah, I don't know who's winning. Did you hear a bell? There's a bell. I don't know what that means. There's no points on the screen.
Yes.
How am I supposed to know who's winning these arguments, Dan?
Also, I thought we told Pablo that was a terrible jacket.
Oh, yeah, we did.
When he wore it down here.
We sure did.
Pablo got his Kenny Smith on. He got up and went to the board and
I think he was just doing that to show off that his belt matched the jacket.
There's a lot of showing off. Did you see the shot from above their heads, just looking down at their desk for some reason? Yeah. Pablo's on the screen 3 times at one point, saying the same thing. I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy.
What do you mean? They cut it in thirds and Pablo saying the same thing?
They had a shot from behind him, a shot from the side, a shot from the front.
Wow.
It looked like the Brady Bunch intro at one point, but it was all...
You start coughing, Billy?
I'm telling you, I have motion sickness. It looks great, and they said great. It was a great show. I need the seasick things.
The bell is haunting.
The music is super scary.
What's the bell mean?
Because
my pulse is 95 right now.
High noon, so it sounds like an old Western bell.
Oh, but I need to know. I'm with Stugotz, though. I need to know what the bell means. Explain it to me. I can't be...
The bell means move on to the next topic. However, they talk through the bell.
Wait, is it the high noon is why they had that was
that's why it's...
They should have Tumbleweed go by in the background.
They should, because that's why the beat is a little bit westerny, but with a new urban flair.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Imagine if their guests come out on horses. Are they going to have guests, or are they just going to talk to themselves?
I don't think they need guests.
Bomani's suit, though.
It looks great. Yeah, it looks fantastic. He really does.
We were debating as to whether or not they would go cash or formal, and the answer is Bo's going to be beautiful. Yeah. He's just going to wear he's going to be dressed to the nines every time.
You know what's funny about that? All my life, I've wanted our television show to be baseball cap and T-shirt. The highly questionable, and the producers will not allow it. And in this case, the same producer would be fine with everyone dressing down, but Bomani doesn't want to do it because he spent a lot of money on Taylor.
Right.
I've gotten used to the scroll. So, Eric created the scroll and now killed the scroll for this show. There's no scroll. I don't know what's coming up. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's going on.
There was something. There was a scroll there. There was a scroll there.
Can we talk about how fresh that open was, though?
It was great.
Seems as though they've just been sitting at this table the whole morning, and it just joined in mid-conversation, and there was a graphic open around what was going on. It went to widescreen, and I love that the panels are white. Man, that looks so cool.
Big table, though, right? Really big table. Really spread out, right, on that table. It's a big table, big set, right?
Did you see the overhead shot?
I feel like the set might be swallowing Bomani and Pablo a little bit. That's all I'm saying. It's very big, yeah.
If you looked at the overhead shot, all the desk is in the front. They're not using that desk. In between them, there was about 6 inches of wood. They were like almost touching each other in the face when they were going like this. You see how close they were to touching each other like this?
They're very close to each other.
It's actually a very inefficient desk.
It really is.
Who would order a desk like that?
Where do you put your paperweight?
High Noon is going to be on television every day on ESPN from noon to 1 o'clock. What are you laughing about now?
Just we got to dress up the desk. I mean, Billy's right.
Well, this is what I want this show's goal to be, okay? Because we like being anti-establishment from within the establishment. It's a lot of fun. We're a spoof of sports radio. We're a spoof of sports television. We're a spoof of fandom and media hysteria. We already break into programming when Stephen A. Smith gets agitated on First Take.
Mm-hmm.
On Wednesday night, we're doing something where we're just going to be watching the NBA Finals, and you're going to be able to watch it with us. And we just spent the last 10 minutes watching Bomani and Pablo. What I would like to do is get to the point where we can watch these things and have it be our entire job. Where we're watching, they're paying us to watch other ESPN programming. I want to get to the point where we don't even have to be here. Where our job, the way they pay us, is just to watch other things on ESPN.
Maybe next year for the national championship game, instead of us doing a show, we can watch the Megacast watch the game. So you're watching us watch the Megacast watch the game.
No, I want to get to the point where I am watching ESPN from a yacht in the Mediterranean, and I'm not actually doing any work. Today was a big step toward that, guys.
But are we watching you on the yacht?
I mean, if you want to, shirtless in the hot tub like that Jack Nicholson photo, eating a hoagie shirtless in his boat.
Baby.
Cha-ching! Time for some ads.
I think we should tune in next segment and just watch them again. Let's work toward this. Because they'll still be talking. Let's just go.
They never stop talking. I mean,
Pablo with his jacket. Is that suede?
He loves that jacket.
He loves the suede jacket. He told me all about it.
He looks like he's going to find an artifact of some sort, but if you're going to do that, why wear suede?
Yeah, he does. He does look like an adventurous archaeologist.
Indiana Jones did not wear suede. He wore like the bad leather.
Yeah, you're going into a cave. It's presumably very damp in the cave. There's going to be water dripping down. It will ruin the suede.
Yeah. Don Batard.
Ooh. Guillermo, sassy.
Stugotz.
You're sexy when you're sassy.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Time now for the funniest thing from the sports weekend.
Hey, people. Tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha ha ha!
Funniest thing from the sports weekend is brought to you by the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day. What's in your wallet?
Chris Cote, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
I saw a video on Twitter of Julio Jones playing kickball, and he's terrible.
No, that's impossible.
Yeah, it was like a slow pitch at him, and he swung and missed.
No, that can't.
Really? Kicked and missed.
That can't be. Well, it's the same. Stugotz, what kind of correction is that?
It's kickball.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at your leisure.
Mike mentioned this earlier, though. It makes me feel better about myself knowing that Julio Jones can be terrible at something like that.
In kickball, do you swing and miss, or do you kick and miss? Put it on the poll. A very important correction Stugotz is making there for no good reason.
Just listen, man. I want I care about the facts and being right, and I care about being right.
Guillermo, what do you got?
Our good friend Skip Bayless yesterday tweeted, quote, "Think about this. Chauncey Billups just said on ABC that LeBron looked a little tired. It's only game 2 of the NBA Finals. I covered Michael Jordan when he was a year older than LeBron is now. Nobody ever thought about MJ being tired. that would have been blasphemous. Fine. Then a couple people started responding to that with pictures of Skip Bayless's article from June 13th, 1998. Table set, but Jordan drops his knife. This will be remembered as the night Michael Jordan was mortal. This was his night, his game, his fourth quarter, and Michael Jordan got tired.
That's great. What you just... I mean, Shia LaBeouf right there applauding in the audience. That was great. If that's not the media, I don't know what is. Roy, what do you have?
Michael Kendricks on the report that he's signing with the Browns. No, it's not accurate. I don't know who the bleep said that. That bleep is bleep. Whoever said that bleep is bleep. That's all I have to say, man. I'm not really talking to anybody about this. Michael Kendricks has reportedly agreed to a deal with the Browns.
Okay. Mike, what do you have? It sounds like we might make a second round around the room here. It sounds like we've got a lot of funny stuff to choose from. Mike, what's the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Before last season, Hugh Jackson promised that they would be better than one win, and if not, he would jump in Lake Erie. Well, he finally made good after the weather got better and jumped into Lake Erie with a bunch of other people. However, when Hugh Jackson jumped into the water, what came out weren't his pants. They were below his butt, revealing to the world his A, yet another L for Hugh Jackson.
Wow. I mean, the Browns have been showing Hugh Jackson's all the entire time he's been there. Let's do another round. I'm going to go to second funniest thing from the sports weekend. Stugotz, what is the funniest thing for you from the sports weekend?
The Cubs striking out 24 times and still beating the New York Mets 6-1.
Wait a minute, what?
The Cubs striking out 24 times and still beating the Mets by 6 runs.
Well, that's crazy. So 24 of the 27 outs were strikeouts?
Now, 1 extras, but they struck out 24 times, and they still beat the Mets.
Okay, all right. Well, that makes a little more sense.
I didn't want to throw that in.
14 innings? I'm going to go with Mark Jackson's Easter suit. Let's go back around the room again.
Yeah, there's enough here.
Chris Cote, what is the second funniest thing from the sports weekend?
J.R. Smith getting MVP chance at the free throw line at Oracle.
They gave him a standing ovation when he was introduced with the starting lineup.
We should have won snake draft order.
That's funny. That's
always
funny.
gets the best one.
That was pretty good. Billy, what was the second funniest thing from the sports weekend?
The second race of the Detroit Grand Prix was delayed Sunday when a GM exec crashed the pace car into the wall.
Was Trey Wingo in that car? Hal Wingo was in that car?
I mean, he's never at work.
He was in the car in front of it. Oh, wow. How fast was Hal Wingo going?
Roy, what was the second funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Tiger Woods' hair.
Thank you, Roy. Excellent work as always. Mike, what was the second funniest thing from the sports weekend?
I'm going to go the stare down between Steph Curry and Kendrick Perkins.
That was great.
It's great, yeah.
Kendrick Perkins, the way he was sitting in that seat is how I imagine Stugotz at home when he's eating Cheetos and ice cream with his hand in his underwear.
Yeah.
Kendrick Perkins just had his feet out. Nobody sits like that. And then his feet get near Steph Curry's feet, and Steph Curry's got bad ankles. And then Kendrick Perkins does the only thing he knows how to do, like a mascot. He stands up and his face can't change. So he's scowling because that's all he does. What do you have, Stugotz?
The Mets offense. As of yesterday, their NL offensive rankings, 13th in runs scored, 10th in average, 10th in home runs, 11th in OPS.
What happened to them? You said they were good.
They were. It was the beginning of the year. Remember that big? I think it was a 5-0 start. Oh, were they good?
What do you do now that you can't blame it on Matt Harvey?
I can't, but it's an ebb right now, and we all know about the ebbs and flows. A flow is right around the corner, Dan, when you're ebbing.
A UFC fighter, Jared Brooks, he body slammed, and it was a Jose Torres, and did it creatively. Had him picked up and had him over his shoulder and back, and then went backwards to body slam him and knocked himself out.
It's otherwise known as the Canadian Destroyer, Dan. It's a move made popular in the indie circuit by Petey Williams.
There was all sorts of Alan Thicke in there, man.
Why was Alan Thicke? Why was
Alan
the late
Thicke's
Alan
apparently
Thicke?
a wrestling fan.
Okay, do you want to?
Anytime I talk
hold
wrestling.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's back away. Let's all back away. And you deliver the third funniest thing from the sports weekend as the fake Alan Thicke, if you don't mind. Alan Thicke, the late Alan Thicke, a friend of the show. He would come on. He would be super cheesy. He would be slathered in cheese. And Mike Ryan, over the years, developed a fake Alan Thicke that makes an appearance every once in a while as an homage to our good friend of the show, Alan Thicke, who we ultimately get blamed for killing. The third favorite, funniest thing from the sports weekend, according to the fake Alan Thicke, is...
UFC fighter Jared Brooks knocked himself out when he was taken to school by Jose Torres, who pulled the Canadian destroyer out of his bleep.
Yeah, look at him when he does
Yeah, his face droops. He looks a little bit sedated. No funny drinks that you're having? Where are you, fake Alan Thicke? Where are you?
Right now I'm at Casa, Florida, enjoying a lovely daiquiri on this beautiful summer morning. In heaven, by the way. Casa, Florida, in heaven.
Otherwise, you have to say hi to our Bryles for me.
Cha-ching! Time for some ads.
Going to update the polls in a second. What are you laughing about?
His Alan Thicke just makes me laugh. But the face he gets, it's like, you know when Caliendo's in here, and it's hard to look at him because he gets like he doesn't Berman.
Yeah, he looks
like Chris Berman.
Yeah, he looks like Al Pacino. He looks like Robert De Niro. It's weird. Mike does not look like the late Alan Thicke. He just looks like somebody whose face has been sedated by dog tranquilizers. Alan Thicke was very handsome.
It's not tranquilizers, it's mint julep. And it's delicious.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Don Le Batard.
Did you know that Jose Canseco's finger fell off during a poker game?
We did a good show today, man.
68% of the audience said no. That's all we got today.
Is that all?
Our job is done.
Stugotz.
That's a quality program we put together.
Good job, everyone.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
That video of LeBron on the sidelines is funny for a number of different reasons after J.R. Smith forgot the score. But one of the reasons it's funny is because you can see LeBron James' mouth to Ty Lue. We had timeouts? Did we have timeouts? He was asking a question he knew the answer to. He knows they had timeouts. He wanted Ty Lue to say we had timeouts so that he could then react that way, getting mad at Ty Lue. He was trying to call timeouts. It's timeouts on the scoreboard.
Yes, which is why we know he knew. He tried to call it.
He made Ty Lue say it to him so he could show him his profound disappointment. Made Ty Lue say it out loud. And you get it when he's 51-8-8 and he's frustrated because someone forgot the score and they could have been coming back 1-1.
Yep. And
last night doesn't mean anything. And it doesn't mean anything that Sean Livingston would have been the best player in the 1950s.
I can sort of understand how LeBron is gearing up for this finals. He's like, okay, I'm going to have to be 51-point great 4 times. I have to muster it 4 times. And he mustered it one of those 4 times on game 1.
Yes.
And it got wasted because he can't muster that all the games. It's impossible, which is why their defense was terrible. He doesn't want to muster up the effort to go and close out on a jumper. He just assumes it's going to be made anyways.
Right, that's the frustration. I have to do this 5 times now? My plan was to only do it 4, and game 1 was one of those times.
Well, and it's not just one of those times. I'm going to do it once. And also, listen, guys, I got it real easy. This is all I need from you, okay? I don't need anything else. Just this. Make a free throw and remember the score.
I've got everything else.
Oh, yeah. And remember how many timeouts we have, Ty.
It's just great.
Oh, man.
At Batard Show on Twitter, I do believe Sean Livingston, it's such a great point by Stugotz, would have dominated the 1950s.
That's amazing. That guy takes a little baby jumper in the paint, and you know it's going in,
He
right?
would have been Wilt Chamberlain in the 1950s.
I'm not so sure he wouldn't be dominating now if he never got hurt.
He's pretty good.
At Batard Show on Twitter, we got a lot of polls today. What do you got, Stugotz?
Do you know what an ebb is? 58% of the audience said no. They do not. Are olives terrible? I hate olives. I can't believe this many people, like 58% of the audience said yes, but I can't believe that 42% think no. I mean, they're awful.
But great things come from olives, including olive oil.
Yeah, I guess. Do you think that Jack White is actually talking to Vault members? Mike is a Jack White Vault member. He was telling us earlier that he thinks, because you're a Vault member, you get special access to Jack White. There's like a, instant messaging back and forth. Mike actually thinks he's talking to Jack White.
Vault member. What does it cost to be a Vault member?
Third Man Record Vault member?
$2. Shut up.
70% of the audience said no, it's not Jack White. Is Steph Curry cocky or humble? 83% of the audience said cocky. Is Stugotz J.R. Smith? 90% of the audience said yes. Are you bothered that the show today started breaking down a Wizards versus Raptors game from 2007? Oh, I love our audience. 71% of the audience said no. Is the lowest point of Kanye West's career Bobby Brown calling him crazy?
I mean, you can't write fiction better than that. You know what kind of special, kind of crazy you got to be when Bobby Brown, didn't Bobby Brown say he had sex with a ghost? When Bobby Brown is saying you're crazy?
72% of the audience said yes. After Game 2 of the NBA Finals, should the show be talking about Kanye saying George Bush doesn't care about black people? 72% of the audience said yes. That's what we should be talking about. Is the only good ice cream that makes you pay for it the next day?
Oh, we meant to ask Roker that. Let's ask him that tomorrow. We got to ask him that tomorrow.
52% of the audience said no. Surprised there.
Guillermo, what are you laughing about? Roker's never coming on with us again?
Allison just dismissed him. He's not coming back on tomorrow.
How about Ruffin?
Why? Because Allison's in a slump?
Uh-oh.
What happened?
I mean, that's a touchy subject, man. Let's see who's on tomorrow. Ron McGill.
I'm not using that word. She's using that word. That's not my word.
You don't talk about guest bookers being in a slump.
Yeah, you don't talk about it. You just don't talk about it.
I'll go in there and hug her in a second.
It's the rules of baseball.
We're all a little bit scared of her.
Well, listen, we got Ron McGill and we got Dave Itzkoff tomorrow.
She just muttered, especially when Dan's the reason.
It's great. Allison, therapy couch.
Where was I? Can you name a Ravens wide receiver? 76% of the audience said no. Do you prefer words with your national anthem? 59% of the audience said yes. That's all I'm saying. I told you Carlos Santana was fine. Did a good job. Did a great job. He's a great guitarist, but I need some words there. And 59% of the audience agrees. Would Sean Livingston have been an All-Star in the 1950s? 86% of the audience said yes. Did you know that Al Roker is related to Lenny Kravitz? 94% of the audience said no. Would you take 71 right now? Would you sign up for 71 years of life right now? 67% of the audience said yes. In kickball, do you swing and miss or do you kick and miss? Got on me about this one, Dano. 60% of the audience said you kick and miss. How about that? Those are the polls today. Well, a little bit unfair, Julio Jones. It was not it was an uneven track he was playing on. The ball was hopping all over the place. It took a bad hop right before he went to kick it. You know, that's annoying when you play kickball.
Traditional red kickball, if it bounces on a rock on its way, it totally throws you off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so Julio Jones is not actually terrible at kickball.
Oh, no, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's bad. He's bad.
I like to see him on a flat surface, though.
It's incredibly rewarding to see Julio Jones finally fail at something, too, by the way.
What do you mean? Why?
I use that as positive reinforcement. Yeah. I'm like, yes, he's not. Some people just don't have the world completely by the bleeps.
I mean, but he failed at the Super Bowl.